So the rabbi is going to teach us something that he learned in the name of Ula, a rabbi by the name of Ula. Gadol hanene migi'o yoter mirei shamayim. They're teaching us an idea that whoever works hard in this world, whoever, I guess, builds something, plants something, with the people that work and how, whatever, people get pleasure from that. They get they get pleasure from that. They see the fruit of their labor. So it says that is better than someone who is just fearful of heaven. I don't know if this is the classic discussion of, is it what's better, to work and learn or just to learn all day? Maybe it is related to that, maybe not. But they're saying here that that's better. The ilu gavei shamayim ktiv, and the reason is because when it comes to describing someone who has a fear of heaven, the pasuk says, "Asher ish yar'eh et Hashem." Praise be the man who fears God. Ve'ilu gavei nene migi'u ktiv. And then when it comes to someone who benefits from his labor, the pasuk says, "Yigi'a kapecha ki tochal ashrecha v'tov lach." The fruit of your labor you shall eat, you shall be praised, and it will be good for you. So basically, from that we kind of see that it's a little better, because over here in this case the guy's getting two praises. Yeah? Before it was only one. And so they say, Ashrecha, the first one, Ba'olam hazeh, you shall be praised in this world, V'tov lach le'olam haba, and it will be good for you in the next world. Ulgabe yirei shamayim v'tov lach lo ktiv bei. And when it comes to someone who just fears heaven, it doesn't say it's going to be good for him in the next whatever. It doesn't say v'tov lach, those two words. Okay. And so they continue again in the name of the same rabbi, basically a couple rabbis quoting his rabbi who's ultimately quoting Ula. So they have an idea that a person should always try to live in a place where his rabbi lives. שכל זמן ששמעי בן גרה קיים לא נשא שלמה את בת פרעה. And Rashi says over there at the top, Ken the samuch lemitat shim'i ktiv, and so over there, this is I'm assuming in the book of Shmuel, Ulai Shmuel, and number 2, Shmuel number 2. Okay, so it's saying over there, Kitzu, it says, the whole time that the rabbi was alive, Shim'i ben Gera, Shlomo didn't marry Bat Paro, and Rashi says the samuch lemitat Shim'i ktiv, and then eventually, like further on in the text, it says, after Shim'i dies, ve'itchaten Shlomo et Paro. And so from that we learn, the rabbis are learning from that, teaching us that, you should try to live wherever your rabbi lives. And so immediately they disagree, the rabbis disagree, and they say, Tanya, but however, don't we learn somewhere else, Al Yadu, don't we have a concept somewhere else that says you should not live near your rabbi? And so they answer, Lo kasha, it's not a contradiction, because over here, that he should live close to the Rav, it's when he accepts the Rav's authority and accepts the rabbi's tochecha, like his, how you say tochecha in English, his, not chastising, but
his teacher's admonishment.
Admonishment. So, if someone who accepts the rabbi telling him nunu when he does something wrong, de lo kayefle. However, when it says not to live near your rav, it's when you're not going to accept his admonishment. Why? Because maybe you think you're so righteous and you're going to start arguing with him, and then a bigger fight will come out of that. Especially if you know what you're talking about. So, actually, this reminds me of a Gemara from another Masechet. I think it's a Moed Katan, where it says, maybe it's not a Moed Katan. I remember a Moed Katan, but maybe it's not, somewhere else. But basically, it says I have two Talmid Chachamim live in the same city, and they're not like nice to each other. They're not peaceful with each other. Over there, it says something on the lines of one is going to kill the second one, and the one like not on purpose, and then he's going to have to be in Arei Miklat, in like in Hebron, and Then Kitzu. Okay, that's the teaching. Moving on. Amar Rabbi Una bar Yehuda, Amar Rabbi Menachem, Amar Rabbi Ami. So again, the line of rabbis, one quoting the one who taught him. Ultimately, they learned from Rabbi Ami. Madichtiv. So they want to expound on the verse Ve'ozvei Hashem yichlu. There's a pasuk in so let's say no,
Isaiah.
Yeshayahu. Okay, Yeshayahu. Okay, so over there it says that the people who leave Hashem yichlu, like they will be demolished, consumed.
They don't forsake Hashem.
They'll be finished, so to speak. Yeah, I would say a lot of that could mean many things, right? That could mean someone who leaves Torah, and so he's going to be consumed by his own ego. Maybe that's one example. Yeah, that could get 20 different examples. Okay, they're going to give us one over here, which is, what does it mean? It means Ze amaniach Sefer Torah ve'yotzeh. That's someone who in shul, when they're reading the Torah, they're reading, and he just leaves. He just leaves the Torah open and leaves. I understood it as there's a minyan reading from the Torah. The guy is in the minyan, part of the minyan, and in the middle of reading, he leaves. He leaves the shul, or he goes somewhere else, not because he needs to, maybe to go to the bathroom for real, but stam, he just leaves. Maybe he doesn't care. I don't know what the story is, but again, that's one of the explanations they give. Rabbi Abahu nafik ben gavra legavra. And so they say, well, it's not so clear that just someone who leaves. We know that Rabbi Abahu would leave in between aliyot, so it's okay maybe to leave in between aliyot. Welcome back. Good to see you again. Good to start again. We're on page Chet Amud Aleph, 3 lines from the bottom. Rabbi Abahu nafik ben gavra legavra. So we were just learning that there's a pasuk in Yeshayahu which says people who leave Hashem will be consumed, will be diminished, will be finished, so to speak. So I was telling David that could be explained in many ways. What does it mean to leave Hashem? To leave the good ways of Hashem, the ways of the Torah, now you're
Consumed with your ego.
with your ego. You know, it's a nice word, maybe. Okay. And so the rabbis are teaching us here specifically, another interpretation is when they're reading the Torah in shul and the aliyot, the guy that leaves, that's considered leaving Hashem. And so whoever does that, it's like alav katuv omer, like maybe the pasuk is hinting that okay, it's not a good idea.
At the end of davening,
So now, yes.
While you leave?
It's too noisy and then just crazy.
So here they're saying it's not so clear. Again, I'm talking when the Torah is open and the aliyot specifically. So here they're saying it's not so clear. So they say no, we know Rabbi Abahu, he leaves in between aliyot. So maybe it's okay to leave in between aliyot, not in the middle of the actual reading. Yeah. And then they ask, okay, so in between the aliyot, what about ben ba'ei Rav Papa ben psuka lipsuka ma'u? And so Rav Papa asks, what about in between psukim? You know, okay, maybe it's okay. So they say teiku. Say no answer. They didn't answer him. Rav Sheshet mahadara pe begaris. So they bring another example, different Rav Sheshet, who would mahadar api vegares amar anan bedid. So he would they'd be reading, and he would be I guess on a side table doing his own thing, maybe reading his Gemara, and they were reading over there. And so
That's okay.
they asked him, "Is that okay?" And so he says, "Ana bedidan ve'inhu bediduhu." I'm doing my own thing, and they're doing their thing. Okay, many explanations. I'm going to read one of them from the Steinsaltz here, which it says that lefi shaya shad. So they said that the rabbi was maybe blind, and so therefore patur haya mikriyat Torah. And so therefore, technically, he's patur. He's exempt from reading the Torah. I believe in those days there wasn't a bar kore. Everybody would actually read from the Torah and the aliyot.
Oh, I thought he was exempt. He was exempt because the mitzvah is to read the Torah and he can't read. Wait, it's in the second Megillah. It covers this, doesn't it?
It rings a bell. Megillah 10 years ago.
And then they ask, maybe I'm wrong. It asks if a deaf person is required to hear.
I'm not gonna remember that. I'm zero memory, but Kitzo, it's a concept that if I remember, correctly, that the Baal Korah is a new thing because people eventually, it's hard for them to read. But in those days, like the Yemenites still do it, like the Temanim. You guys ever go to a Temani shul? Do they have Temanim in Montreal? No, zero. Okay. So.
Well, maybe we don't know about, but I don't know.
Okay, but not like a shul with a Rav Temani, Rav Kapach. There's a famous family, Kapach. Kitzel, the Rambam that we have today, I don't know in this shul, but I know for Chabad, the Chabad, they have their commentaries on the Rambam that they publish, and they took the text of Rambam from Rav Kapach because they say that the Yemenite is the most authentic Rambam because he came from Yemen literally with the scrolls of Rambam that he inherited from his. That's what they came to Israel with in the 1940s. Eventually, there's like a Rambam project, I don't know what, which took different Rambams and try to make. Well, there's errors and stuff. We want to digitalize everything and make it. So they consider him to be anyhow. So the Temanim still read from the Torah, and they get the Aliyah. Kitzul, so they're saying technically because of that, the rabbi was blind, therefore he was exempt from reading, and therefore, he has some type of pacha that he could be on the side. In those days, the Gemara was oral, maybe just on the side, maybe with someone else. I'm not sure how you would learn, I guess, out loud to yourself. You talk to yourself, I don't know. There's an idea of learning when you want to talk the words also. Like if you read a book on your own, it's better to read it while talking, like how I'm reading it right now, even if you're by yourself.
What happens if you hate your voice?
So it'll fix your voice. It'll make you love your voice. Okay. And so, because you're taking the Torah, which is something holy, and the mouth couldn't express, like the energy of the Torah is making it to a world that's lower. The world of thoughts is higher. So you want to bring it as low as. There's an idea like that. Anyhow, so, and so, like when you do a mitzvah, let's say the burger that you eat for lunch. When you do a mitzvah, those molecules from the burger become the energy eventually, the ATP that gives you the energy to do the mitzvah, right? So that's how you elevate the burger. So the same with the mouth. Le'efech, when we say Lashon Hara, it's le'efech. Okay, so.
It's only burgers.
Anyhow.
Smash burgers.
I heard that's trending. Okay, so. Okay. So that's the idea with the Rav. Okay. Tov. ועוד, so continuing, אמר רבי יהודה בר יהודה אמר רבי עמי, לעולם ישלים אדם פרשיותיו עם הציבור שניים מקרא ואחד targum. This idea we learn from here, that every week we should learn the parsha in Hebrew 2 times, and with a translation
Where it's from?
1 time. Yeah, I believe it was instituted earlier than the Gemara, but here they're reminding us. Okay. ואפילו עטרות ודיבון. And the Rabbi and the Gemara here says even the parts of the Chumash that says the word atarot v'divion. So I'm going to read from the Steinsaltz for a second. And he says atarot v'divion v'yazer v'namra v'cheshbon v'elala ushvam v'nevo v'kitzur. All these weird names that are just names of places in those days. So technically, it doesn't mean much, right? You would think you need the translation of the actual content that you need to understand. Well, names of places. Saying even that you should read twice and okay. כן, שאף שכולו שמות מקומות, ראוי לקרוא את תרגומו. Even though it's names of places, you should still read the translation. Okay. And why is this? שכל המשלים פרשיותיהם עם הציבור מאריכים ימיו ושנותיו. And it says here because everybody that learns the Chumash every week with the congregation, with the community, his days are extended in the world. Okay, Rabbi.
What does it mean? It means like hearing the Torah out loud, you think? Or what does it mean complete the port?
So here it says that on your own, you should read from the week before you read in shul. You should read from Sunday all the way until Shabbat morning. So you shouldn't eat on Shabbat morning until you finish reading it on your own.
You're not answering my question.
Yeah, on your own.
What?
You should read it on your own.
It says congregation.
At the same
With the congregation.
So I'm just going by what signs it's.
Well,
The idea of the community, they're going to get into what that means. The congregation means the schedule of the congregation, whatever they're up to that week. So now the rabbi continues. He gets into this question right away. So the rabbi didn't have so much time to learn. So he realized, oh, maybe I could do the whole Chumash Erev Yom Kippur. I don't know how you would do that. It sounds. I know on is it Hoshana Rabbah or in Shavuot? Right? I don't know. I know the Moroccans read they have a tikkun that they read, which includes all Sefer Devarim. I tried it 1 year, and it was intense. Like, I'm not gonna say. I mean, I probably did 10% of it. I was mostly asleep, like in a chair in the shul. You know, like I tried. I mean, I was okay with the congregation, with all the friends, okay, having fun, beseder, no problem. But I think really, honestly, without saying too much, no, it's not. I think only the rabbi really finished it. I don't know. Like everyone else falling asleep or just distracted altogether. Okay, but the intention was there for sure, and. Okay, so he had the idea of finishing all of the Chumash Erev Yom Kippur. Welcome back, good to see you. It's to see and to be seen, that's true. That's the Beit HaMikdash, to see and to be seen.
They're on the spring jacket.
That's it. Is that a two-tone? Could you wear brown also? Or double up your wardrobe? All of his clothes.
So we're on page Chet Amud Bet, the third line from the top. Rav Beibai, Rav Abai, again, the rabbi, we have an idea that we should read 2 times every week the parsha in Hebrew, and 1 time with a translation. Shnayim mikra v'cha targum. It's like people pushing it now. People are doing kvutzot on WhatsApp to push. I don't know, to push. My friend from Brooklyn is like trying to push on me. I'm like, okay, I got mine.
Parsha twice, so 3 times in the week.
And then on Shabbos.
Right, well, on Shabbos you're hearing it, but does the Shabbos part count as the second one? Okay, it could be makel if you're being machmir in other areas of your life, anyhow. Or maybe not, I'm not a rabbi, I can't take advice like that from me, anyhow. But the intention is definitely there, and the idea is to read twice a week. Really, the idea is every day you have you read the aliyah of the day, and you read it twice in Hebrew. And you read it once in Aramaic, but some people say that English counts as a translation, and that's it. And it's a big. I really, for many years, I believe that the energy of the day is in the parsha of the day. What do I mean by that? The struggle of the day somehow is actually in the parsha.
Or the good news of the day. Also.
Like the mission of the day, the mission that I have to do today. Somehow the parsha is like. I don't know how to explain it. It's like the playing ground, not the playing ground, but there's something about it. I really see it. It's not we can see hints and prophecies in the parsha. What's gonna be? No, that's what I'm talking about. Like I call it the struggle because it's maybe every day you have to get stuff done. Like maybe you don't want to do, but you have to get it done.
I mean mission. The
mission of the day. Yeah.
Now we're talking Chassidus.
It's definitely a very Chassidic thing, but okay. So the rabbi didn't have the time to do it, so his idea was to do all the Chumash Erev Yom Kippur. So the rabbis answered him, Tanale, Chia bar Rav Midiftai, or Midifti, that was the name of the Rav, and so he says to him, basically, you have a nice idea, but it's written that you shall afflict your soul during the 9th of the month of Tishrei at night, or in the afternoon, late afternoon. No, Erev is sunset, towards sunset. Yeah, in the afternoon. And so they answer him. So they answer with the this is, they say to him, this is what's written, and then they ask him, but do we actually fast on the 9th? No, Yom Kippur is on the 10th. אלא לומר לך, כל האוכל ושותה בתשיעי מעלה עליו כתוב כאילו מתענה תשיעי ועשירי. And so from this we learn, I don't know if this is where we learn the idea from, but from this we learn, right now we're learning that whoever eats, the traditional, whoever eats Erev Yom Kippur, it's like a mitzvah, and it's considered as if you fasted 2 days. So it's a mitzvah to eat on just stuff food before Yom Kippur. Okay. So what is he saying? If you make it faster, the fast harder. I agree with you, especially if you eat a lot of carbs.
You disagree? Eat with me. Yeah. You won't be full of this. Steak for appetizer.
What's wrong with steak for appetizer?
Then you'll get full.
Okay. And
it's harder to fast when you're full the day before.
You never eat so much and then the next day you can't even look at food till 2 or 3.
Yeah, but that night in shul, the only day you're
Yeah.
worth it.
The issue is usually for me is like that time before mincha, like there's like nothing to do, like I don't know, explain it, and then it's like, yeah, but then the hunger really starts to hit right there. I don't know. It's like it hits you during shul, right, and then you forget about it, and it comes back. Like I don't know. It always comes back for me at a certain time, mincha time. It's like, oh, I can't do it. Anyhow, so but I felt the difference different years, like between like a high carb diet and like a lower carb diet. It definitely makes a difference. Anyhow,
What's better?
I think the low carb because with the hard carb, it's like throwing a paper out of fire. It like burns really fast and really intense, and then you're hungry again fast. Whereas if you kind of get a little bit more used to consuming more fat, basically it burns a little slower. It's not for everybody, but it helps. I definitely felt it like 1 year that I was anyhow. So therefore, the rabbi should not learn the parsha erev Yom Kippur. He's got to be busy doing the cooking and the eating. סבר, סבר להקדומינה הוא. אמר ליהו סבא תנינא ובלבד שלהקדים ושלא יאחר. And so the rabbi answered him back and he said, oh, maybe I should just, I'll learn the whole chumash the day before the 9th, on the 8th or whatever, a different day. And so the rabbi answered him, he says, no, the idea is that you shouldn't yakdim or acher, you shouldn't make it sooner or later. Like, does he translate better? The idea is that you should do the schedule of the week. It's today the schedule. Today we're not reading Berachot, right? We're reading whatever the parts of the week. Tazriya, Metzorah, Mashkaz. So the rabbi basically is saying you should do it at the pace and at the schedule of everyone. Okay. And you should do it as the Rabbi Yoshua said to his kids. Same idea. You should read with the community twice Hebrew, once translation. And you shall be careful with the vridim. We're going to get into what that means. Rabbi Yehuda, as was the custom of Rabbi Yehuda, Ditnan Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Ad sheyeshchot et avridim. And so, what are the vridim? In the Ilchot Shchita, she'af mutar le'achar shechar takane o hushat bo, yosiv Yehuda she'ino nitar she'ushat avridim ba'em zorem adam. So the idea is that when you shecht, did you guys ever shecht an animal? Yeah. So it's like you do the thing like that.
We shechted the chicken.
Actually, I was next to a shechter. I never shechted myself. You did it yourself with the knife?
Deer. Did you?
With a deer. With the hunting.
Really?
Story gets more interesting.
I shechted a chicken.
A chicken?
Chicken.
Oh, so this is what he's talking about.
Did you eat that chicken?
No, I gave it. It was after I left the forest. And then the guy was there and I did it with him.
He put his hand on you and you...
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You see
Okay,
the
so you
soul
got
go up,
the...
chicken soul?
Hmm?
See the chicken soul go up?
So the Rabbi Yehuda has a little detail that he adds, and he says it's kosher if you only shech the esophagus and the windpipe, or the windpipe only. Ushat et kanez.
The trachea.
These are very different.
The trachea and the esophagus. So two of them, yeah, both of them. And the rabbi added that he should also be able to cut the is it the aorta, the main, the jugular, yeah, like the main vein also that connects to the brain. I'm assuming it connects to the brain. What else? But it's basically what he's trying to say is that way all the blood will come out. It's an additional detail, but it's not necessarily like it was already kosher if he only does the windpipe and the esophagus. Okay. And the rabbi is so basically continuing teaching also what he taught his children. Quoting Rabbi Yehuda who taught he's quoting Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi who is teaching his children. You should also be careful with a rabbi who forgot his Torah. So maybe he got old, he forgot, he got whatever. As it says, why? Because luchot veshibrei luchot munachot ba'aron. because it says in the Torah, "Dichtiv asher shavarta v'samtem v'aron," because Hashem commanded Moshe to put in the Aron with the second set of tablets, also the broken pieces of the first one. So from that we learn many things, amongst them that rabbi who forgot his Torah, you should still honor him. Amar lehu Rabbi Livnei, and so the rabbi continues, "She'atem chotchim basar al tachtechu al gav hayad." So when you cut meat, you shouldn't put the meat on your hand. It's kind of obvious. No, you shouldn't put your meat on the hand and try to cut it. Why? Mishum kilkul seuda, because maybe if you cut yourself, you cut yourself, but you're gonna mess up the meal. Ve'al teshvu al mitat aramit, and you shall not sit on the bed of Aramean. Interesting, because the whole Talmud is Aramit. So where were they? They were in Babylon. Okay, I don't think there were any Rastas out there. Okay, anyhow. So, but right. So he's saying you should not sit on their bed. ואל תעברו אחורי בית כנסת בשעת שהציבור מתפנה. You should not go by a shul when they're praying and not go in. Why? בשעת שהציבור מתפנה ואל תשבו על מיטת ארמית. And so now they're going to continue explaining, and they want to say ואל תשבו על מיטת ארמית. What does this mean? עיקדי אמרי. So there's a few explanations. One of them is לא תנגעו בלא קריאת שמע. One explanation is do not go to sleep without saying קריאת שמע. The same way that the non-Jews go to sleep without saying Kriyat Shema, we shall not do that. That's one explanation. Another explanation, Ve'ika de'amri, Delo tinsevu giyorta, and you shall. The second explanation is that you should not marry a convert. Ve'ika de'amri, Aramit mamash.
Seems like the last explanation makes the most sense.
Here the Mishnah says שמוטב שיתחתן בבנות ישראל. Okay. Aramit mamash mishum. And yeah, so the third Aramit mamash u'mishum maaser Rav Papa. So he says no. It's the third explanation that you say maybe it's most logical, which is don't sit in an actual bed that belongs to a Babylonian or Aramean. The Rav Papa Zal לגבי Aramit, because a story from Rav Papa happened to him where he went to go visit I don't know if it was a family, an Aramean family. And the lady there said to Hotzia lo mita, said to him, "Oh, you could sit here." Amra lo shev, and she says to him, "Sit." Amar la eini yoshev ash takvi et hamita. I'm not going to sit on the bed until you pick the bed up. Hibi et hamita umatzah sham tinok met. So she picked up the bed, and there was a dead baby underneath. It's a strange thing, right? And so Rashi says,
sounds like a Motel 6.
Aramit mamash al mitat aramit. Ken. So what happens is Rashi she'amru lo shev al hamita ve'yabna met mutal alea ve'ayta rotze le'alil alav ve'lomar she'yashav alav ve'algo. So she basically set him up to accuse him of killing the baby. That was that was their idea. Why would they want to do that? I have no idea. But that's a weird thing to want, right? To accuse someone else. Okay.
There was something we learned last year, Safin. There was something about that non-Jews would bury their people in their house. Is that not familiar at all?
I don't know. I saw on CNN the other day. Are they still doing that?
Yeah.
Anyhow, okay.
Right. It was specifically babies that they would bury them in the ground of their home.
In the house.
In the house, and it was for that reason.
Is
that with the mice? Was it the mice?
Probably.
Yes.
And the mice would
In the
go
basement.
in the holes where the
It's
babies
good if we
are.
really remember, right?
Something along that.
I just wonder if this is connected.
I have no idea. What was the psak there? I don't know. I have no idea. What's the idea is basically you go somewhere, be careful. Like okay, be careful. That's all. Be careful with everybody, really.
Especially with dead babies.
And I mean,
Aramean. Anyhow, okay, so והמיטה ומצא שם תינוק מת. No, so they wanted to accuse him. מכאן חכמים אסור להישב על מיטת ארמית. So from here the rabbis say prohibited to sit on these beds, okay? ואל תעברו אחורי בית בית הכנסת בשעה שהציבור מפללים. So now they want to explain, what does this even mean, not to go behind the shul when they're praying? Messiah le Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, the Amar Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi. And so what, this idea of, again, not going behind the shul when they're praying, supports the teaching of Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, as he says, אסור לו לאדם שיבוא אחרי בית כנסת בשעה שהציבור מתפללים. So that we have an idea that's prohibited to go by the shul, behind the shul when they're praying, and not to go in. Like, I think we learned this a few weeks ago, maybe. Or maybe we didn't, maybe it's coming up. Anyhow, sometimes I don't remember if it's coming up or we learned already. But, okay, the idea is, that the rabbi taught that you should go in the shul if you're praying. אמר אביי ולא אמרן אלא דליקה, אמר אביי, ולא אמרן אלא דליקה פיתחה אחרינה, אבל איקה פיתחה אחרינה, לית לן בה. So again, the rabbis are a little bit more specific, and they say it doesn't apply to all shuls, it applies only to shuls that only have one door. So, because people could think maybe you're going to go through the second door. The idea is somebody sees you, they don't want to see you like you're mizalzel, you're, how do you say mizalzel? It's like one of the words that makes me the most angry sometimes. Mizalzel is zilzul is when something has value and you just like throw it and see it there. Or zilzul it's a combination of disrespect. It's maybe it's a whole class. It's a simple word. Just it's a level of disrespect and where it's like mizalzelim. It's like when you have something and you don't appreciate it, you don't value it. Take it for granted. There's a lot of meaning in that one word. But so the idea here is that people shouldn't see you.
Like that goat that we do.
La'azazel. You know what? I never put those two together. But sometimes a lot of people shem mizalzelim. They're saying, "Oh, la'azazel."
That's the worst thing to do is laziness.
Laziness.
No value. Throw away value.
Throw away value. But la'azazel is to throw something off the cliff. It's like. The point is, people shouldn't see you mezalzel b'beit hakneset. That's the idea. That's the wrong line. Okay.
Like if you're not going in and you pass it, you don't find value for the shul. Is that what you mean?
That somebody would see you and think, oh, it's a small town. There's only one shul. There's only one door. Like, I don't know. I personally don't walk around like that, but the idea is that people shouldn't think that you're mizalzel b'mashu.
It sounds like this whole part has to do with what other people think. Because if you're further down, it shows that there's reasons to say why it's okay.
Yeah.
Based off what other people see.
Yeah.
It's very odd that's it says here that's a halacha. So that there's a halacha.
Stein says that my version doesn't bring down the actual, because here sometimes he really brings halacha like from Chofetz Chaim. So what does he say over there? Mine doesn't include
That's
it.
what the synagogue done by walking behind it.
It says one is prohibited from passing behind the synagogue. It says while the congregation is praying, one may not walk past the side of the synagogue where the entrance is situated, except in certain cases. It says. So, but it's weird that there's a halacha about you should care what other people think about you. It's only harming you, and it's not really harming me because it's only what people think. It's not.
Right. I mean, I think you could explain from different angles. I think up to the previous half a page was talking about reading the Torah with the congregation. So the idea is to try to keep a certain level of cohesion with the congregation. And in my experience, from having lived in small towns, if there's only one shul and it only has one door, and these people depend on you to make the minyan, they look forward to seeing you.
Okay.
So I don't know. I believe that it's a level of more. It's not just what people are going to think. It's what's going to happen after people think about that. Maybe they think, okay, seder, no, azma. You could look at it that way, or you could look at it as no. We have a community that should be cohesive. It should be like a chavura, like almost like a family. So the idea is to hear the Torah. In my opinion, humble opinion, it's just driving us closer to each other.
Okay.
It's using language which might sound a little judgy, but I don't think that's the goal. Is not to be judgy. The goal, and the rabbis here, we're going to finish this part over here with this. You'll see, it's really not. Again, they continue and they say, again, it's not so cut dry. If the shul has more than one door, people are not going to judge. Okay, maybe he went on the other one. So it's like even if you're busy, whatever it is, but okay. ולא אמרן אלא דלא דרי תונה ולא דרי תונה What was the word tuna mean? Not that tuna. Sheino nose. So I'm going to translate from here. Sheino nose masa. So again, it's not just that the shul does not, but again, it's one of any of those, or that the shul has two doors, or that you're carrying some. Sheino nose masa. Ken? V'sheino ratz v'sheino meniach tefillin. Ve'im yesh echad me'elu en bo asur. So again, it's asur to not go into the shul when someone is not someone who's busy. You know, maybe somebody carrying a load, like on a donkey or for work or however it works. And it's not someone who's running like to get somewhere, not someone who's already wearing tefillin. So clearly it's someone who kanireh is showing that he's available and there's only one door, so maybe he should go in. But if be'im yesh echad mi'elu, ken, aval ik echad mehanach, leitlan ba. This doesn't apply to him. So if he has like one of these excuses, quote unquote. So that's that. Tanya Amar Rabbi Akiva, and so Rabbi Akiva is teaching us Shosha dvarim ohev ani et hamidyanim. Et hamada'iyim. I had to look this up because I was confused. Iran used to be two countries. The western part used to be called Madai, and the eastern part used to be called Paras, which is what they are now. I believe the Palsim won the war against Madai, and so now the whole thing is Palsim. That's how you say Iranians in Hebrew, Parsim. Okay. So the rabbi here is saying, I admire, Rabbi Akiva said, 3 things I admire from these people. The first is that when they're cutting meat, they cut it on a table. Before we said not to cut it up here in the air, they cut it by the table. And when they kiss, they only kiss the back of the hand. I'm assuming it's like a gentleman thing to kiss the hand. I mean, it's not really what's it called, shomer negiah. Don't do that. But in the Western world, yeah, people do. Men do that. To kiss the hand is a sign of gentleman, whatever. So I don't know if they were doing this like for like guys kissing each other's hands. I don't know if that's what it means.
When kissing a friend, they kiss only the hand, not the face.
So the fence.
This is more respectful since the kiss can leave traces of saliva.
Important. It's the bacteria and the.
Do Sephards know that?
No, they have a different interpretation.
And so I think maybe it's okay. So maybe it's in society in general. It was maybe that's how they kiss. Okay, no. And yotzim ela basadeh. And the third thing that Rabbi Akiva really admired from these people, en yotzim ela basadeh. This is probably the most important thing.
This is very interesting.
They didn't plot, they didn't plan things, they didn't take advice unless they were alone with the advisor in the field. Why, says Rashi? The Amriya Inish, because there's a popular saying, Oznaim lakotel, ears have walls.
The walls have ears.
Thank you. Ears have walls. The walls have ears. This is a good one, right? So if you have something important to say to anybody, okay, maybe it's a good idea to go somewhere in the field.
Rashi is saying that because that's like a expression that I use.
And he brings.
Did you ever say the walls have ears?
Yeah.
Until today's. So that's Rashi's already 1,000 years ago. So 1,000 years ago, people were. It was even before that, I'm sure. Another 1,000. It's from the days of these people. Bechlal, they're already talking about. En yotzim ela basit. Okay. Amar Rava bar Ava mikra. So the rabbi even brings a pasuk to support this idea. Vayishlach Yaakov vayikar Rachel. It's where a pasuk says that Yaakov sent to call for Rachel and Leah to come to him. Hasadeh el tzono. And so they said we're going to talk, but we're going to talk out in the field by the. I guess he was plotting how to get out of Lavan's house. Tanya Amar Rabban Gamliel Mishosha Devarim Ohev Ani Tapalsim. I love the Palsim. So the rabbi now he says I love 3 things about the Parsim, the Persians. Hentnuim b'chilatan. They are modest when they eat. They have good etiquette when they eat. Utnuim bebeit hakiseh. And they are modest when they use the bathroom. Utnuim bidvar acher. And they are also modest in something else. I think we all know what that something else means. Ani tziveti limkud shai. Tani Rav Yosef elu apalsim amkudashin umzumanim ligenom. I don't know what this has to do with what we just read before, but they bring a pasuk here. Hashem is saying that again, the war that we mentioned before, basically Hashem is saying, I commanded the Persians to wage war and destroy the Maddi'im. Okay. And then he says, so from there we learn that those are the Parsim, who the Parsim are, we identify them, and it says here, they are mezumanim legenom, they are invited to come to hell, to Gehenom. Basically, if I understood it correctly, as Rashi says here, so he's saying here that there was a war, and actually there was a war even recently in 1991, or right, the Iranians that were shooting at when Saddam Hussein was. That's Bavel. So he's saying here, so he's saying here that the pasuk where it says, I am commanding the Parsim to wage war, he's saying the Parsim and the Madaim, they got together and they waged war against Bavel to destroy it.
Yeah, so before in the 80s, it was the Iran-Iraq war.
That war, they're quoting it here, that was happening, I don't even know when this would be. This is 3,000 years ago. They were fighting already. Okay. And even then, they won the war. So Hussein no longer around, the Iraqi government no longer around, really. I mean, I don't know what's going on there anymore, but okay. Basically, traditionally, historically, Persia was considered stronger. Okay, Tani Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. So we continue. Rabban Gamliel אומר וכו'. אמר רבי יהודה אמר שמואל הלכה כרבן גמליאל. Basically, after we discuss all these other things, all these other like midrashim and whatnot, we're going to go back to whatever we were learning a few weeks ago. כן, כי סוף זמן קריאת שמע של הערבית הרי הוא עד עלות השחר. And so we're going to learn that the time to read the Shema is until Alot HaShachar, which is dawn. והאמוראים פסקו הלכה אמר רבי יהודה אמר שמואל הלכה כרבן גמליאל. שיטתו רבן גמליאל אמר רבי שמעון מסקנם מוזרת קצת. Okay, so they're gonna tell us now. פעמים שאדם קורא קריאת שמע שתי פעמים בלילה ואחת קודם שיעלה עמוד השחר ואחת לאחר שיעלה עמוד השחר ויוצא בהן לידי חובתו, אחת של יום ואחת של לילה. Let's open this up a little bit. He's saying here that if a person says Kriyat Shema before dawn and I think dawn שנייה עמוד השחר או נצח חמה. כן, אמר יהודה שמואל הלכה כרם יומיים מתוך הסכומים עקרוני השיטה אצל רבי שמעון גם קצת פעמים שאדם קורא קריאת שמע שתי פעמים שבא כן, זמנים סמוכים אחד קורא של עמוד השחר ואחד לאחר שיעלה עמוד השחר ואף על פי כן יצא לידי חובתו אחת של יום ואחת של לילה. כן, עמוד השחר. Okay, so again, dawn let's say is 5 in the morning. Someone at 4:50 read the Shema. At 5:15 read the Shema again. He's saying that those two times, one is for the night and the other one's for the day. Say that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense. It makes sense. That's the problem. That's the problem. That's biduk that it makes sense right now, but that's the issue they have. And according to this is the shita of Rabbi Gamliel. וזהו שלאחר עלות השחר כקריאת שמע של יום. I think on the way to that. And so they answer immediately. They say Hagufa kasha. They say the statement in and of itself is contradictory in and of itself. Contradicts itself. שבראשית הדברים, because it says פעמים שאדם קורא קריאת שמע שתי פעמים בלילה, and so because it says the guy is reading it at night, שתי פעמים בלילה. לאחר שיעלה עמוד כן, מכאן שלאחר שיעלה עמוד השחר עדיין לילה. So from here you have to say basically, or you cannot say that after Alot HaShachar, it's still Laila.
Halachically?
Contextually, because
Halachically the matter?
not halachically, they're not getting to the halacha, they're getting about the specific statement. They're saying in the statement itself, it starts with Pamin Balayla. It starts with twice at night. So then, if it's twice at night, how you tell?
It can't be the next day. It's twice a night. So they broke it. So they're like, we agreed. It all made sense. And it says, no, wait. It says twice at night.
This, I'm thinking about something totally different for some reason, but maybe quickly, I'll tell you a little story. Maybe we'll finish with this. We'll get more into this next week, I think. But it's nice. Now we're getting actually into actual Gemara. We had a. It was a Galata though. It was like a midrash himself. It reminds me of a story I heard in the name of someone else, that when the World War II, the Americans were bombing, whatever, and the planes would come back full of bullet holes, yeah? So they got a team of engineers together to try to figure out how can we protect the planes a little bit better, yeah? These are the planes that are coming back. And so immediately they got like a whole group of engineers, and a bunch of them, they got together, and they said, oh, we see, they did math, and they said, and these are the areas where the highest concentration, and we should protect them, and it's concentration to liability formula. Okay, this is where we need to add metal protection. And so there was like the one guy who did dafyomi in the side, he said, well, wait a minute, guys, these are the planes that came back. Where are all the planes that didn't come back?
Right.
That's where you need to put the metal. So, Sad Hashem, next week we'll continue. Oh, actually, we got 3 more minutes. Yeah, we have 3 more minutes. Why not? Okay, so let's continue. כן, הגוף הגש היה אמר הפעמים כשאדם קורא קריאת שמע 2 פעמים בלילות עלמא לאחר שיעלה עמוד השחר. לילה הוא והדרתנא יוצא בהם מדי חובתו אחת את יום ואחת בלילה. And so therefore, if you're saying basically at the beginning of your statement that both times are night, how are you going to tell me that the second time that he reads, he's going to be yoitze on saying Shema for the day? He's not saying it like that, but how are you telling me, if it's all night, how are you telling me that he's yoitze also for the night and also for the day? If you started by saying he's reading twice at night. Why don't you say that maybe you could say that after dawn, it's day. And so they answer, Lo, leolam leliyahu, behadekar leyom, dekayme behai sha'ata. No, it's still night, but we can call it day because during that time, some people are waking up. There is definitely some people awake at that time. They have stuff to do. Maximize the day. לא, לעולם, לאליהו והרי דקרב, הנה תקרמי בהי שעתה, אמר רב אחא, בחנינא אמר יהושע בן לוי, הלכה כרבי שמעון בן יוחאי. So the rabbis conclude that the halacha is like Shimon bar Yochai. Ika דמתן דהא רב אחא, בחנינא ahadetanya, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai Omer, Mishum Rabbi Akiva Pa'amim she'adam koreh Kriyat Shema. So they quote all the rabbis that brought the teaching. Eventually they bring the teaching. Pa'amim she'adam koreh Kriyat Shema 2 פעמים ביום ואחת. קודם הנץ החמה ואחת לאחר הנץ החמה יוצא בהם מדי חובתו. אחת של יום ואחת של לילה. Same statement. What's the problem? He's saying the same statement. He's saying a person says the Shema twice per day. He's yoitze for around the same time. He's yoitze for the day and for the night. The same. They're picking the middle point as dawn. Before and after, they read the Shema. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai is saying that he's the same exact statement. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai is calling it day, and the rabbi at the beginning was also Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. Maybe we'll leave it here for today. And we'll continue next week with B'ezras Hashem.